I look this good because of her. Yeah. So, how many software developers do we have here? Or intending to be software developers? Anybody? Intend to? Okay, cool. That's cool. So, what I'm here to talk about more specifically is what I look out for when hiring a software developer. Okay, and that is why that is what I call the best human resource professionals. So I think I could shed more light on that. But most of those interviews, I'm there primarily as a software developer, and because actually some things specific things I'm looking out for, like on the technical side. I was also in the panel to interview the general tech manager of Internal Networks. So I think that little experience counts to share for some of us who want to be IT technicians, software developers, computer professionals, or any other endeavor. So what do I look for when I'm hiring? There are a couple of things. One of them, going straight to the point, of course, is programming, software development experience and competence. Yeah, and well, there are different levels. Sometimes we look for just starters. Sometimes we look for mid-level staff. Sometimes we look for more senior developers. And but you're coming as a software developer, or you're coming as a networking guy, and primarily what I'm looking for is, can you write software? Or I give you a cable, can you build a network? Even if it is an ad hoc network, are you able to build it? Yeah? So that is it, one. So two is a cultural fit. And it's not just enough to be able to develop software. It's not just enough to be able to put wires together. It's not just enough to be able to operate a computer. When you're going for an interview, you need to be able to put yourself in a position where your interviewer or your recruiter says that you're able to fit in the culture of the organization you're going to work with. And let me just say here that if you're rejected or if you're not taken, let me put it that way, more mildly, if you're not taken, doesn't necessarily mean you're not qualified or you're not good enough. Some of us who recruit, we understand that sometimes some people are not just, they don't fit our culture. We have a culture, the Terra Networks or Manyo Solutions, where I also represent. And some people don't just fit that culture. By interacting with them, they don't just fit in. So we look out for, personally I look out for someone who fit the culture of the organization and my team specifically. So there's ease and dynamism in my team, and whoever is going to come in, I'm trying to make sure the person doesn't break that dynamism, but is able to fit in. This is not very easy to ascertain to some extent, but like I said, interacting with the person, be able to clarify some of these things. And then also, depending on the level, I also look out for project management skills. Some people are not actually as organized as they should be. Very few people find it even very difficult to keep a planner, like a diary or a to-do list. And what I'm saying is, like, irrespective of whether it's a software developer or wherever you be, you should be able to, on a very basic level, be able to organize yourself. I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. So project management and being result-oriented. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. At the end of the day, have I done all that? Have I achieved what I planned out to do? So these are basically some of the things we look out for. Another one of them, which is one of my favorite, is enthusiasm. All right, enthusiasm. I had somebody come to me interview, and they were asking the person, why did you apply for this job? I like to do the job. Then we asked the person, what kind of person do you describe yourself? I am a very outgoing and social person. But all the while the guy was sitting there, he was just like keeping a very stern face. And you wonder what kind of thing is that. No, you need to show some enthusiasm. And it's not just about this, like I said, it's in life generally. People need to see that passion. Alright? People need to see that passion, somehow, because if you're not convinced, that's one of the reasons why we are all here. If you're not convinced about what you have to do, really it's going to be a very difficult journey. But when you start with being convinced of what exactly you want to do and then getting excited about it, you need the excitement in the long run because the road is very turbulent at times, and there are 1,001 things to do as well. Okay, some of us are multi-talented. It's photography, it's software, but if you're passionate about it, there's a long way. That passion could actually take you a very, very, very long way. And then last on my list is confidence. Confidence. I want to see somebody who is confident about his or herself, in your abilities, in what you know, in your experiences, everything about yourself. All right? Doesn't matter what you wear, but let's be confident and be comfortable in it. Doesn't matter how expensive or how cheap your jacket is, but feel good in it. All right? Feel good in it. Feel like let me know that you're comfortable where you are. So to get to some of these questions we asked directly, some of these questions we can defer based on a couple of questions. So more specifically, there are questions I personally love to ask, and please understand that this is not a very standard way. There's no one method that kills all. I'm just one person, and different thing works for different people. So I like to ask about projects you've worked on. All right, what have you done? You come as a software developer. Have you written any code before? Is there any website you've done before? Or is there anything you've designed, a logo, or practically? All right. I like being practical. So what projects have you worked on? Then secondly, among this project, which one was your favorite one? Which one did you really like that really got you excited? And then your role in that project, were you the person who designed, who developed, who was testing, or what was your particular role? And then what challenges did you encounter? Okay, because professionally, we're not all about the results. It's also very important to someone like me how you get there. Okay, what did it take you to actually achieve this? What challenges did you face? Or what victories did you record that really got you excited? So these are some of the questions that we ask to come to such conclusions. But based on all I've said, really, if you really analyze all this, there's actually one major thing which I can, how do I say it? There's just one word I can use to actually conclude or summarize all this, and that is value. When you go for an interview, or if I am to interview you, or I'm recruiting, I'm looking for value. Right? So all these questions or all these things I look at, I just summarize them to one word: value. So your job is to showcase your value. All right? My job is to evaluate that, is to question that, is to get it out. But your job is primarily to show me your value. All right? And it's very interesting because the problem really, if you ask people, they might say, I really don't know where my value lies, and stuff like that. And but the problem really is not in discovering the value. The problem I see a lot of people is that some of the values are not even there in the first place. Yeah? And what makes you click, what brings out that confidence or that enthusiasm? It's not even there. So when we write your resume, there's nothing to write about. You know. So value. You know, starting with the resume. You look at your resume, you give somebody your resume to look at. How much worth does your resume speak of you? If I look at your resume, what is your resume telling me? How much value how much are you worth as a person, as an individual? It starts there from the resume, because those who we finally invite for the interview are those who we can already decipher some value from their CVs, from their resumes. So based on that, we go to the next step to actually call them for an interview. So, and when you come, your appearance, you know, the way you compose yourself, your confidence or your enthusiasm, basically that all speaks about the value you place in yourself primarily. And if that value is not there, then you know, that's when people begin to fidget and all that. So your composure during the interview, your responses, the questions we ask you and you respond. And the questions you ask, you know, that tells us a lot about how much you value yourself, your experiences, what you've done, what you've learned, what you've been through in life. Right, so that gives us a very significant idea of what that value is. So when it comes to getting a job, generally, and more specifically as a software developer, the question that comes to mind is, what value am I putting forth? Writing a CV, what values am I putting here? I know we'll speak much about value, which though due to time I won't go a lot into value, but it's something I believe our other speakers might say one or two things about that, or something I believe with our coming series here we might address that issue. But then we'll all go back and do some research because it's really important. I and I were actually discussing a couple of days ago, and I was asking a question. This issue of salaries, and you're having an interview and you're being asked, how much do you want to earn? How much do we pay? A lot of us have learned that don't answer that question. Yeah. A lot of us have been told, don't answer that question, no matter what, don't answer it. Or if you come to my company, you have to answer that question. All right? You will have to answer it. And well, it's interesting because it's really not about the numbers. Like most responses we get, you already have a standard, you know. So I think that standard should go to work with and stuff like that. But we ask that question to also see how much you value yourself. You know, that's part of what we answer. It's not really about the numbers, but if you tell us you want ₦1 million, and for your grade you pay 100K, we offer you 100K and we don't take it easily, you know. So it's not really about how much you ask, but really how much are you worth, all right? So when you go, you need to be prepared to answer it. Definitely shouldn't shoot so high. And like back to when we're talking about, I wanted a specific answer. I told you there might not be a direct answer, but definitely you need to be wise and smart when you're going out there. You know, you need to do your research. The salary grades in the organization, out there, other companies, your friends, how much are they being paid? You know, that might give you an idea of, you know, the range of what to ask for and what is tenable in the industry in Nigeria. What I was earning in Russia is very different from what I'm earning here, but definitely the standard of living in Russia is very different from the standard of living here. The maturity of the industry, both in Russia and Nigeria, they're very different. So I can't use the model of Russia. I can't come here and start money for $3,000 for a start. You know, you have to start from somewhere. So that research should give an idea of, you know, what to ask for. And you could actually try to put it in a range. You know, how about between this and this? That makes it, you know, you're not like putting yourself in a cage. Yeah, you have to answer it, fine. But if you don't, ignore the questions if you can. But if you're very confident about your personality, then fine, go ahead and answer it. I've had people ask for $1 million a month for just a software developer, and I was like, what? Even my MT doesn't get that much. And I've had like 100,000. Are you serious? Like, you know, So that gives me an idea of the kind of person I was talking with. Value. Like if I hire this kind of person, it's going to give me like this kind of shallow, for the person who gives me that low amount, this kind of shallow results. So that is one practical idea of where value falls in the recruitment process. And like I said, it starts right from your CV to your walk-in, to the way you respond, you compose yourself, you even ask questions. It's all depends on the value you place within yourself. So just a couple of other notes. You don't have to impress anybody. When you go out, of course, you have your value. You don't have to impress anybody. But if I go into that, still, if I leave this value thing, you need to actually learn to, invest in yourself. Because the difference between you and someone else might just be the Microsoft Office, not actually things that you learn in school, or what you get in the job are not necessarily things you learn in school, or somebody teaches you. Well, yeah, someone could teach you, but there are things that most of the time, you leave your comfort zone and you step out to develop yourself, to go for a course, to go for a training, like web development. It's incredible. It's just very simple, Before I was taught web development, I learned web development during my master's degree, actually. But then, I thought here already could do professional website. I started to do it. And it's very, very easy. Very easy. It's just something like the resources are limitless, on the internet. Put it up, read it down. You don't need to be a developer, you don't need to program, it doesn't take thinking, You just what you see is what you get. So, so even if you're working, I'm working, but my company is not pushing me into trainings. What do I need? I can tell them I need this, but it's my own. I need to make my own sacrifices, to go out for this training, go out for this seminar, and do this. So I think it's a good start being here. That's part of this self-development we're talking about. If you go out and listen to what people are doing, how people are doing it, get some of these little tips, I think they go a long way. But you need to act and go further, do more about it. So value comes from how much you know, how much you've done. They are practical things. You want to write a CV and you've never worked before, really, you're going to have it difficult writing that CV. You're going to write a CV you don't even know Microsoft Word, Office. You can't write it there, you can't put it down there, So you need to learn these things so at least you can have a comfortable CV. And then, so like I was saying, a couple of notes here. You're not out there to impress anybody. When you go out to the interview, you already know who you are, you know how much you are, you know the value which you carry. So basically your job is out there. Your job out there is just to showcase that value. Tell them, look, I can do this, but I cannot do this. Now I have people be very honest with me. Look, understand this job, I cannot do it. And I really appreciated that. And it's not that they're not smart, it's not like they're not intelligent, but this is the job, this is the culture, but I prefer to do this job and I fit into another culture. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. So, like I said, if you're not taking it, doesn't mean you're not smart. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means maybe you don't fit into a particular theory, basically. So don't let the rejection spin you off. There are better places always. So definitely those who deserve you will get you. But you need to make yourself desirable. All right. So the recruitment exercise is all about discovering value. From the standpoint of recruiting, from the recruiting officer, then showcasing value from the standpoint of the one who is going for that recruitment. So work on your value. I know a bit more about this value thing. I started my career in Intel Networks specifically, where I presently work as a software developer. I applied for a senior software developer. And that was in less than 2 years. So this is just another closing, just more practical illustration. So I applied for the job as a software developer. now I got in my CV, even during the process interview, I was very clear on how to show how much value, how much I brought, the value inside of me. And I think my value was way beyond software. Because when you come as a software, yeah, we want to come as a software developer, but we want value. Yeah, that is more important. Value to my team, to me, my team, and the organization as a whole. So I got as a software developer, and because of the curiosity, asking questions, asking to do more, and stuff. Less than 2 months, I was already assisting the manager of the unit, and then there was 7 months. The guy went to school, and that's when I became the software developer, the manager of that unit. But then I don't only develop software in my organization. I belong to a number of boards. I belong to the editorial board, I belong to the disciplinary committee, I belong to the enterprise innovation committee, and a whole host of others. But my job primarily is software development. But I've learned, or I have been able to flourish, give value beyond my job. Right? So there are some of these things. These are some of the things that actually will make a difference between you and the next person. It's not just about being comfortable where you are. Okay, I got a job. I'm looking for this job. But look wide, and see how much, what you can do, what you can offer. And its value actually starts now. You don't need a job to begin to add that value, because it's that value that will actually get you the job. So look at where you are, wherever you are at home, in your CDS, like what Ike is doing here, and in your churches, in your mosque, wherever it is. What can you do? What extra thing can you do? Volunteer. My first 5 websites when I started web development, they were free. One was for my church, one for a Bible school, but they were free of charge. But I gave him my 100% commitment because I knew that was what was going to sell. And remarkably, those were actually what got me the contracts and projects I made money from. So start looking for ways to add value to the lives of people around you, your organizations, even here. Like, what value can you add here? And you will be surprised how far it will take you. All right. So really, I wish you guys the best in your careers, in your endeavors, and the journey, like I said, never ends. We're all in the process of getting there, and a step at a time, we will. Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Engineer Manyo Ndoma. Please give that round of applause louder. Thank you very much. I can feel the energy in the house. Thank you very much, Engineer Manyo. A couple persons are itching to ask questions. Do we have such persons here? 1 or 2 questions? 1 or 2 questions, or we'll leave it till later. Okay, great. We have, thank you very much once again, Engineer Manyo, and once again you are at DS Mentor, and DS Mentor means do something mentor. When I say DS Mentor, you say, what do you say? All right. When I say DS Mentor, you say I have a mentor. DS Mentor. I have a mentor. DS Mentor. I run about post for yourselves, people. Wonderful. Thank you very much. And we said this event was to be a career and business mentoring session. We need mentoring. I put this thing together, or we put this thing together as Do Something Club because I understand that I am at a point in my life where I need more wisdom than money. I need the wisdom from the lips of experience. And we're really grateful that these great men honored our invitation to come speak to us. Now we have a business strategy expert in our midst. I met him at an exhibition in Sheraton Hotels Abuja, and after the 15-20 minute session with him, I was already dreaming of when I could have him come speak to my team or speak to a group that I know. And when I called him up that, sir, please, can you come around and speak to us? He agreed to come. Now this man, Sam Obafemi, is definitely bringing value to the table. Why not, with a round of applause, invite Coach Sam to the podium. Ladies, this is the Barnabas House Group, and I'm sure you will have a delightful moment listening to me. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for having me. Okay, thank you. Very passionate guy. I had to leave another event to come here, and I should be running back as soon as I'm done. But it's a privilege to come talk with us with respect to developing business. So I'll try my best to do as much justice as I can in the shortest possible time. I'd like to know the audience I have. Do I have business people, core members, students? What's the majority of the audience?
Core
Business. Everybody, we're a mix. Okay, good. Well done.
Core members, I think,
It's
is
a good mix.
majority.
Okay, no problem. Just so I can be able to talk to us in a very direct manner as much as I can. Thank you for putting this together, and I'm hoping that we're able to do more of this as often as you can. It's very good. I've been doing something like this for 11 years now, so I know the power of bringing people together to talk to them. It's very good, and it pays off because your influence grows and you're adding to the bottom line of people, even unconsciously. So it's very, very good. So I encourage you to keep it up. It can be tough. There are months you do events and go into debt as a negative. Do it. Do it. I read a profile last week of someone who says sometimes he even travels and hoping that he will make good money and comes back on a deficit. But another opportunity will now pay off for a lost opportunity. So when you run at a loss, do the next event. So I just want to encourage you to do that. I came with my resources because I can't tell you everything in 30 minutes. So I have my business CDs at the stand. One CD is called 4 Pillars of a Strategy. There are 4 elements that you need to put together for your business. It's only 500 naira. I have another one called my highest selling resource. It's called How to Create a Successful Business Model. I have had people who are in business for 12 years who said if they only knew what I pointed out in that CD, they probably would have got some things right. And that has been my highest demand. It's also 500 naira, so you have it from the stand. And because I'm a life coach, I also have 2 resources for people. I'm an anger mastery therapist. I'm the first certified license holder in the country, so I have a resource for mastering anger, and it's on the stand. You can have it for 1,000 naira. And then I have a license in emotional intelligence, so I deploy emotional intelligence solutions. It's a double CD, it's also on the stand, and you can have that for 1,500. There's a seminar I'm putting together on Tuesday morning. It's holding at Hatler Place in Zone 5. If you can come, it's called Debunking Marketing Myth. My background is ICT. I'm a graduate of computer science, so I'm not a marketer. I recall attending an interview in Marina, Lagos in 2004, 2005. And because my background is IT, I used to be, I would say used to be a CCNA, CCNP person. And the employment was for network engineer. And the employer was asking me, how much do you want? I said, I won't take less than 54K a month. He said, okay, you have it. I said, thank you. He said, but if I want you to market for the company, I said, I will never market. I didn't even let him finish. I said, I will never market. He said, okay, that's fine. I said, thank you, sir. So he gave me the offer. I declined the offer because I thought for him to ask me for marketing, if I get into that system, he will force me to market. And I detested marketing. But I went to just 2 weeks ago for one of my programs because I travel a lot for programs, and in one of those sessions, somebody asked me that, so have you considered being an information marketer? Because you do marketing with ease. And I reflected at 2005. I said, I will never market. What am I trying to say? A business person is primarily a marketer. irrespective of what you sell. You can have the best of products. If you cannot develop your competence to sell it, your product will be in your pocket, in your warehouse, in your store, on bots. So, the session on Tuesday is for developing marketing competencies, your way. There's a book I'm reading. I'll tell you some books I've read in a couple of minutes that have changed my life with respect to business. Because we're talking business, I'll limit it to the business books.
Yes.
One of them is this current book I'm reading. I stumbled on this book and it's helping me. All Marketers Tell Stories by Seth Godin. Seth Godin is a global marketer. He actually opened my eyes to marketing. In 2006, I encountered his first book called The Bootstrapper's Bible. And it was a 370-page book. I didn't have the money to buy it. I found an e-copy. So I went to the cafe and used all my alawi. I was a copper then, 2004. I rounded up 2004. So I went to the cafe. I practically spent all my allowance that month, because my allowance then was 35 or 45, to print a 370-page book in color and bound it. That was the book that rewrote my understanding of marketing. So, and I've been following his works. I subscribe to his newsletters, and his works are very fantastic. So, if you want to be able to conveniently sell what you do, try to understand how to develop your marketing competencies from your own language. There's a protocol of communication. We that have network background, we understand protocol. There's a protocol of communication, and everybody has his language. So if you have a market, understand the language of your market. That's why if you read this guy wrote a book called Tribes. And in Tribes, he's saying that everybody has his own catchment area. So if I'm selling to people who don't speak English, and people who are averse, let me give you a typical instance. If you go to the southeast of Nigeria, they are predominantly Catholic orientation. Their orientation is Catholic. Are we together? Do I have one house? So, if I'm going to sell products in that kind of area, I should go from the perspective of a Catholic mindset. That is the protocol they understand. And so if you're going to them to sell from the normal laid-back lifestyle of the northerner, you won't sell. So there's a protocol of selling your products to any market that you're pursuing. Other books that have helped me, Built to Mighty Fall by Jim Collins, is very good for you to get. There's a book by Robin Sharma called The Greatness Guide. The Greatness Guide has also it has helped me with dealing with fear. There is a fear that comes with innovation. And if you must survive as a business person, you must innovate. So you must be able to face yourself, if possible, kill a product, develop a new product, or innovate an existing product and be confident that it will sell. Robin Sharma brought that out of me in his book, The Greatness Guide. And then there's one book you need to buy. Do you have a marker?
Sure, sir.
I want to do a little teaching. It's by Michael Engr. It's called The Email Revisited. It tells you that there are 3 stages of business. 3 stages. The first stage is what we call the technical stage. The very reason why you started business at all is because you have a skill. The technical stage is purely 100% related to the skill you have. If I am going to give you money to make cake for me, it's because you have seen a skill that you can bake. If I'm going to give you my clothes to design or sew, it's because I've seen that you have this skill of tailoring. So skill makes us start a business. Everybody starts a business based on skill, whether it's intellectual skill, vocational skill, some hands-on skill, some oratory skill. A skill makes you start something. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
At a point, your demand will grow because you're delivering value. Thank you for that. Your delivering value and your demand in the marketplace will grow. Oh, this guy, if you go to that tailor, he's fantastic. So, referral system, your own marketing system, your demands will grow. At that point, you realize that you have many customers, so customers will grow, income will grow, deliverables will become pressing. You alone cannot attend to all this and still be attending to the skill adequately. So Michael Engr, did I tell you the title of the book?
No.
I did. The E-Myth Revisited. At this point, because your demand has grown, you must enter another phase of business called the manager level. You can't rely on your technical skills and grow in business. It's not possible. So some of us who are risk averse with respect to delegation, growing a team, your business will stay at a level you can't grow. You must grow your competence in management to be able to now say, okay, I have so many customers. Can I admit or employ a customer service personnel who can take care of maybe social media customer relationship management, all the SMS you need to send, all the emails you need to send, all the customer complaints, or you spoiled my clothes, manage the customer, come attend to us. There has to be that representative that attends to customers. When your income begins to grow and your expenditure also begins to deplete, you need to have the minimum an accounting representative, somebody in-house or whether an outsourced service that can manage your books. Because one of the things that can crumble your business in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, depending on the threshold, is your books. If you don't get your books right, you won't know whether you're making profit or not. I'm a consultant to federal government on UWIN, and just on Wednesday, 1,500 new beneficiaries of the next UWIN were released. And I was one of the panelists that determined who were going to be the next beneficiaries. And one of the observations we made as panelists was that almost 99% of the people who come to UWIN to ask for 10 million naira don't even have an idea how to keep their books. So some of them have been doing business for an upward of 5 years, 12 years, 7 years, 2 years, 1 year, and you're asking them what's your turnover. They don't even have an idea what their turnover is meant to be. Because they don't even know if they're making profit or not. They just make this sell and use and sell and use. They don't keep any books. They don't know their overheads. They don't know their project income. They don't know their expenses. Everything is both spent for eating and drinking and wearing clothes and buying new stock and selling new stock. And they mark up prices arbitrarily. There is no pattern or precedence of marking up prices. You can't do that in business. So, you have to go to the manager level where you're able to now. The manager level means creating other systems for you to be functional at your skill level, and then other people within your team are taking care of complementary responsibilities of the business. Are we still together? By the time you've grown at the manager level, what happens to your business is that your business, in optimistic terms, we call it your business explodes. So you realize that you now have more branches, you now have more openings, you now have bigger customers, you now have probably a chance to automate your system. So your income and business actually expands in practical terms. By the time that happens, because the human mind and the human needs are insatiable, you realize that you begin to think of, okay, I have bigger interest because as far as this business is concerned, I'm settled. Have you seen a tailor who has a big tailoring line of business, suddenly goes into sports business, starts investing in entertainment? Have you seen those kind of scenarios? So you realize that he has grown at his skill level, the business has grown, he enters the manager level, and the business is now seems to be stable. He's now able to sustain a business line. I have a customer, a client in Kaduna. She started out as an events management business, and after 7 years, she has been doing very well. So when she realized that even in her absence, she can travel to Dubai 3 months, nothing happens, the business is very fine. She had built a system for the business, and 4 or 5 months ago, this is the 5th month, she opened a new business for laundry. And as we speak, she has the biggest laundry in Kaduna. She acquired machinery, imported, and set up a standard laundry. So she's not bothered about the event planning. It is taking care of itself because she grew to the manager level, sorted the systems for the business, and is taking care of itself. And then it goes into the 3rd level in that book called the entrepreneur level. The entrepreneur level is where you now have greater or equal to 2 businesses running at the same time. I took time to explain this because I want you to get this book. If you don't buy any other book that I've talked about, please buy the Image Revisited. By Michael Engr. This is a book that will help you stop being emotional and sentimental about business like we do around here. We are very emotional people. We are very sentimental when it comes to business. Okay, so Tolu, is the flyer on the desk? There is a program that they need to attend next month. I hope they have the flyer. Is this session being tweeted? What's the hashtag?
DS Mentor.
Okay, so.
DS Mentor. Please take out your phones if you can and tweet hash DS Mentor.
So
Coach Sam, hashtag Coach Sam, please.
So they can follow later. Okay, so let's talk about why I'm here. We're talking about business. I'm meant to help us understand what we need to put together, what we need to consider for startup businesses, or to be able to sustain our business. And so I'll be telling you from some of my experience, and then I'll also be sharing from rudiments of principles that I have seen validated in my own experience in business in the short time of being in business. I'm grateful for the speed I've had in business. Okay, it's dance time. Okay, so the first thing about business is, like I said, business starts with a skill. The first thing you want to be able to understand is what is the skill that I'm selling, for which I'm adding value, for which I must get commensurate value. What is that skill that I'm selling? The only thing that can make anybody part with money from you is that they are drawing value from you, like my brother has said. And value has to do with what is the deliverable, what is the finishing that I'm asking people to pay for. And of course, your skill, I try to tell people, your skill can be actually in three ways. Your skill can be in three ways. First, it could be intellectual. What that means is, I'm not giving you any tangible stuff, but I have grown my value so that you pay for my time, which is where most of us in consulting and public speaking and counseling or coaching and therapy, which is where we add value to the table. Intellectual skill. So you want to ask yourself if your business is intellectual skill driven. Another pattern of skill could be creative skill. Creative skill is where you have your makeup businesses, your fashion design businesses. All these guys sit down, conceive an idea, and make you see visual connection to what they have thought through intellectually. So we call it creative skill. And so that can be very satisfactory or satisfying. It's one good thing about intellectual and creative skill is that you have almost a monopoly of pricing, because there's no regulation anywhere that says as a consultant charge this rate or that rate. There's no place that says if I watch you and I size up your shape and I design a culture that looks like your shape, I can charge you anything. Especially if I size you up and I see that you have a good pocket, I charge you very well. So intellectual and creative skills have no regimented pricing, and it's just a function of your acumen that determines how aggressive you want to be or insensitive you want to be with your pricing. And so the better you are, the better your income, and the sharper you are, the sharper your income. So the first thing is you want to sort out your skill. The third pattern of skill is manufacturing. That is where there is a production. So, and every other skill, whether intellectual or creative, must think manufacturing if they want to sustain their business. I tell my colleagues in the consulting that most of us will not last if we don't go into manufacturing, because we must transcend our intellectual property into something tangible that people can buy. So you must be able to develop mobile apps, you must be able to develop e-solutions, you must be able to develop DVDs and CDs and books and as many variants of products that has taken you to a production line. That way, you can transcend beyond a small cycle to cycles where you may never reach in your lifetime. And then you can now go into developing models that can now begin to be used in other centuries even after you've gone. So, but these are 3 principal skill areas that you want to sit down and assess your current level of business to know, where am I playing at? Am I in the intellectual business? Am I in the creative business? Am I in the manufacturing business? So that you know what you're competing against. And then you're able to now shape your business in a model that, that is able to enhance your visibility. So the first thing to do if you want to go into business is number 1, what is your skill? What is the skill you have and what is the classification of the skill? Intellectual, creative, or manufacturing. Number 2, if you want to go into business, I tell people the first thing to do when you want to go into business is not to look for capital. When I was in Sheraton, like I said, when somebody walked up to me to say, I have an uncle, he has 500,000 naira, and he said I should ask you, because he knows I'm coming for this program, he said I should ask you what kind of business should he do. I said the business he can do with 5,000 is what you can still do with the 500,000 naira capital. Capital is not the problem. O&O today started off with $5,000 only, a borrowed amount. While Tinubu woke up one day, he had been in the accounting system. He felt he didn't want to be a financial person. He wanted to go into business. And he heard of an opportunity to trade oil. And he needed just $5,000. He didn't have it. So he went to Bola Tinubu's uncle, dad, who is his uncle, and borrowed from Alhaji Tinubu, borrowed $5,000 and did that trading. And when he did that trading, he got his markup. He didn't return the money immediately. He reinvested the capital plus his profit. And that was how he continued to increase in his profit and returned the capital. Just 3 months ago, they bought the biggest vessel that is available, 100% paid. So, capital is not your problem. What you can do with 1 million, you can do that with 100K. It all depends on your negotiation and your ability to see the business side of it and know how to come to terms with it. Yesterday, somebody was asking me from Lagos. He said a company has proposed partnership with him and he needs my counsel. I said, what do you need? He said, what do you have? What's the term of partnership? He said the company is based in Lagos too. They're into procurement and servicing of oil business. He has the equipment, he has the experience. That company doesn't have the equipment and they don't have the experience, but they have the capital. And he says, so he's thinking, what do I think of the partnership? I said, what do you think of the partnership? He said, I think we're not getting anything from them. We're just getting the fact that they are funding us. But they are going to be leveraging on our equipment and experience. I said, so what is the implication of that? He said, I don't know. I said, don't do it. Now who can tell me why I said you should not do it? Let me poke your business sense. Let me have 3 volunteers. Why should he not do it?
The equipment, as you said already, he has the experience and equipment. The cash, as you earlier mentioned, capital is not a problem. It's something he can source.
So bless you. Another option or perspective, yes?
I think so, because if he partners with them and he starts making money, but I want to pull out to be taken about.
Third perspective, yes? So the ladies are not talking now.
I feel since he has the equipment and the experience, I think they are going to exploit him.
God bless you. That's the word. If I come into your business with my capital, and over time, give me 3 months, 6 months, I will plant my guys. They will know the job, we will buy the equipment, and you're out of business. Because you don't have money. They give you money, whatever the percentage, negotiate an interest. And spread the interest and pay them back later. Don't bring them into your business. If not, I give you time, you're out. He said, I didn't think of it. I said, well, that's why you asked me. At least that's why you're paying me to think for you. And I said, what are the terms of contract between you and them? He said, there is no contract. I said, that's the problem. Most times, all we do around here is we like the face of the persons that come to us for business and we do business. Business is not like that. Because you like me or you don't like me, business is business. And when money is involved, there is a high potential we will fight. I won't allow you to cheat me. If you cheat me the first time, no problem. If you cheat me the second time, but man, say I'm a fool. So there comes a point where, friend or no friend, I will tell you that guy, your own don't do too much.
That's it.
So from the start, you want to understand the perspective of contracts and perspective of logic and business sense. There is a business sense in every transaction. I tell people, don't be ashamed of asking for your 100 naira. If anything is worth 100 naira, ask. Because the day that 10 naira will hook you, that 100 naira will look like $1 million to you. You will now ask yourself, I've actually been so generous to my detriment. Business is business. Dangote said one day somebody came to him and said, Uncle, I need money. What do you need money for? I want to go and do this and do that. I just want to have some form of livelihood. Can I come and work in your company? Dangote asked him, how much is your monthly expenses? He said it's about 20,000 naira. Dangote said, so if I give you 25,000 naira a month, you're fine. He said, yes. Dangote said, okay, take this note. He sent it to the foundation. There's a foundation he has. He said they should give him the equivalent of that money for 3 months. So he gave it, settled the boy. When the boy later, the boy's mom now asked Dangote, well, thank you, my son said he wanted, but my son wants to work with you, he doesn't want the money. He said, you know why I paid him off? I don't want your boy to enter my system in the name of I'm Dangote's brother and pollute my processes. Because that is when you'll be feeling like you can't talk to me. I'm Dangote's brother. I have a client like that currently in Zone 5. The registrar had brought in a friend's son to come and do IT. The boy is on IT. He's not a copper, he's not a staff, he's on IT. But this boy resumes 11 o'clock. He will clock in, he won't even go upstairs, he will go out, he will gallivant, come back, sign out, 3 o'clock, he has gone home. Some days he will not even come. One day the supervisor said, Sammy, yesterday I saw you signing in, but you didn't come upstairs. What happened? He said, I went to the hospital to do checkup. You didn't tell anybody. You didn't ask for permission. So why are you disturbing me? I'm going to go and tell Oga. So the supervisor was coward. Thought, let him not go and tell Oga. Let Oga not think I'm trying to intimidate this small boy. There's something about business. Resist sentiment and get your acts right. Because it has been proven in many ways that if you don't introduce processes in your business will not last. That's why I wanted to listen to the CD called How to Create a Successful Business Model. There's what we call the merit model, which is the American perspective of thinking. The average American will not employ you if you cannot deliver. They don't know how to do my brother, my sister. They don't. A friend of mine is currently in the Harvard School of Law School. And therefore yesterday she sent me a mail. She said, Sam, you know why these Americans are better than us? I said, why? She said, they understand the attitude to work. She said, even to pick calls during work hours is work. Because you can't even afford it. When there is so much deliverables to meet up with. So if you're interested in doing business, having known the skill you want to sell, the next thing is to understand the processes you want to put in place, which is the culture. And I talked about culture a lot in 4 pillars of the strategy. You want to be able to develop your business culture and be an example of that culture as much as possible. The third thing you want to do if you're interested in doing business is working on your visibility. Like I started off, it doesn't matter how technically sound you are. If your visibility quotient is low, if people don't see you or know you, they can't buy. So have a good skill, have a fantastic culture. If people don't know you or see you or hear about you, they can't buy. And then you just be running operational costs and making zero income. So the third thing you want to consider with respect to business is visibility. I really want to write it. I hope you don't mind.
Sure.
The first thing we talked about was knowing your skill, right? I would say your skill is either intellectual or what? or so these are very critical for us. So I will stop at this point, but I would like to develop this a little bit more. Processes and culture, because 95% of the people I consult for actually consult for them on the basis of process re-engineering, redefining their internal processes so that their businesses can move from one level where it is to the next level. What is a culture? A business culture in layman's terms means this is how we choose to do our business, irrespective of how our competitors are doing it. This is our own style. This is our own choosing pattern. This is our own choosing approach to business. So, some of us may be public speakers, but how I choose to operate will differ from how you choose to operate. That's my culture. A typical example is, as this event is going on, let's assume the culture of DS Mentor could be that a week before their next event, they'll send notification to everybody. A day before, they'll send emails to everybody, giving you directions to the venue. The day of the event, they'll send you notification or give you calls. When you come to the place, it's mandatory that you will have to sign the register. It's mandatory that they will do jotters and pen. It's mandatory that they will video and do audio. They will serve refreshments. That could be a culture that they have defined or elected to do. So, but one thing about business is defining a culture is not equal to executing the culture. So when I say you need to define your culture as a mandatory step if you're serious about business, it is one thing to define it. It's another thing to see it being done. Which is why in 4 Pillars of the Strategy, the CD, I talked about having defined your culture, you must now be able to put together a structure to make your culture work. If you have a culture in place, let me give you an example. If you go to First Bank, the culture of First Bank is when you approach the door, the security man should test you Ebola-wise and they welcome you. The security man must welcome you. Welcome to First Bank, and you go inside. When you enter, another security person, having come in through the security door, must also welcome you and hold deposit slips in case you actually came for deposits and pass you a deposit slip. That is a culture they have defined. Having given you the culture, they now need, when you've taken the deposit slip, you now go do your stuff. He or she will ask you if you need a pen, and they pass it to you. You do. When you're done and you're leaving, they are mandated to tell you, thank you for coming to First Bank. When you meet the teller, whether you're paying in money or you're withdrawing money, they are mandated to tell you, thank you for coming to First Bank. Thank you for doing business with us. Now that's a culture they have defined. Having defined this culture, if one day the security, let's assume we need how many security men? One at the main entrance, one in front of the door, one behind the door. Let's say 3, right? At least not the mobile police, the internal security. Let's now assume that only 2 are present. What now tests the culture is there a structure in place to back up the deficient resource that defines our culture? Do I have what it takes to be able to execute the culture we have defined? Another example, for instance, is, let's say we're in an eatery, we have mandated that all our I don't know what they call those people who sell food at the eatery. You can help me with their names. Sellers, food sellers. We are mandated that they must wear our t-shirts. On Monday we want you to wear red. On Tuesday we want you to wear yellow. On Wednesday we want you to wear black. We have defined this as our culture. And then you wash yours and it's stolen. Do we have the structure in place to replace that top so that on that day you're not violating our culture and we're not denting our culture? Because customers discern. These are simple things that happen in culture. And this is what people call brand. There's something about your business that you're consistent about, that people, like, if you go, they don't fail. this is what happens. So, defining a culture is not enough. Putting a structure in place is what is enough. If DS Mentor says their culture is to send SMS every two days, then the structure has to be that there is enough funding of their account where SMS is being sent. There is somebody who is designated to send it. There's somebody who is checking the content of the message, because you probably have a pattern that you prefer the messages being sent. That's structure. That is checking or enforcing the culture you have defined. Am I getting somebody lost?
No.
Are we together?
Yes.
So, in every business, we try to help people understand that you must be able to elect a culture that works for you. Remember, culture means this is how I want to do my business. Whether you are doing it like this, I don't want to know. This is my own style. Now, having chosen your own style, you must now put structures in place to be sure that you are actually doing what you said you will do. Walking your talk as a business. Are we together? You have put together a structure to make it work. There is something that you must put in place to ensure that the structure is functional. This thing I'm teaching is I'm actually teaching you four pillars of the strategy, literally. You now need to define your business operations. Because this is what gives you the strength to create the visibility you want. There's something about business which we call, a friend of mine, I was at a brainstorming session of one of my clients, and they were asking me about this operations thing, and I told them there's what we call operational time input in business. Operational time input means that there is something about your business that you must define, which if you miss, would affect the sustainability of your culture. Let me give you an instance. There are, which example will I use in this case? Let's say a hospital. If hospitals are driven by a business sense, there is what hospitals must do every morning as part of their culture. There's what hospitals must do every hour. There's what hospitals must do maybe every midday. There's what hospitals must do at the end of the day. Why do you think in a bank there's what they call the vault officers? The guys who actually go to count the cash we start with on a day. They must be at that vault latest 6 a.m. If it's an operation. By the time we're doing it, maybe by the next hour, we'll have more bulk, which we may not finish within 1 hour, which will not, also it will cascade to other failures. One failure can create many failures. So as a business, you want to be able to define what are my hourly operations, what are my daily operations, what are my weekly operations, what are my monthly operations, what are my annual operations. You must be able to define these things because they actually sustain the culture you say you're putting in place. An entry, for instance, will tell you every hour we go and clean our convenience. We come and mop all the floor afresh. That could be an hourly operation. Are we together? At the end of the day, every bank, for instance, if it's 4 o'clock, they will lock the doors to customers. Then internally, they start their end of day operations. Have you tried to, some of us who do internet banking, have you tried to transfer cash, let's say on GT Bank online, between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m.? It can't work. I don't know how many of us have tried it before. If you have an account that you can transfer, like try between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., it will not transfer. Why? Because mandatorily, end of day, what they call EOD, operations are taking place, and a cutover is happening from the previous day to the next date. If they fail to do that, the opening account for the next day will not be there, and transactions for the next day will be deferred or delayed. So, as a business, these are things you want to document, and some of us think these are only applicable to big businesses. No. They are applicable to you. You know why? Because a business thrives on efficiency. If your operations are not efficient enough, you cannot grow as a business. And my experience on the UN panel has really opened my eyes to how impactful efficiency in business can really help or break a business. We just realized that an opportunity comes for you to probably get a grant or get a loan, and they are asking you for some of these details. You are not used to them, and now it now looks like you are suspect because your business understanding is not tidy up. It's not tidy enough. So these are real issues you want to pay attention to, irrespective of your business. You want to know the skill you are selling. In that skill, you want to be able to define your own culture as a business. Part of the things I do in my business, for instance, what we do every Friday, we send weekly reports. So there's a pool email, we send weekly reports to in a particular format. There's a template. And one day, we had a new staff who we had done induction for. And she said, one Friday, she said, "Sir, dear admin, please find attached my report for the week as instructed." The admin now responded, "Dear," I will not quote the name, I was just saying, "Dear madam, this report is not as instructed, it is as our culture demands." Because nobody is instructing anybody. A culture means that as a business, we agree this is the direction we want to go. We are not forcing anybody. It is our lifestyle as a business. And everybody complies with the culture. That is why every country has a constitution. What that means is we, as a people, choose to run our nationhood like this. Whether they are doing it like that in America or in Libya, we are Nigerians. This is what makes us Nigerians, our constitution. So your culture is your constitution as a business. And as much as possible, you need to communicate this often to your staff. One of the things I tell people when we meet in forums like this is, when a new staff comes in, don't assume that they will just catch up. Or just assume their supervisor is the supervisor's job to show them. When I was teaching, what was I teaching these guys? The WUSE 5 management. I was taking them through a course. And I was telling them, I asked them, how do you do your induction? They said, when the new staff comes in, the HR manager takes the new staff to every office. So, okay, this is head of admin, his name is Mr. This is his office, he has 5 staff, that one is Amarachi, this one is a cleaner. They just show you that they go to account, this is account. I said, okay, that's cool. I said, have you considered that when you go to Mr. Admin, head of admin, one, you are within his domain, on his desk, you have interrupted his flow of work, so his attention is even divided. The person where you can introduce, they will not remember the name self. As far as it's concerned, just do quick and go. Go to the next officer. So, hi, welcome. Once you're gone, he's done with his, continue with his job. To HR, induction is complete. To head of admin, you guys just came and wasted my 2 minutes. To the person being inducted, I don't tire. We can just let this thing finish. Let me go and start work or get food to eat. So you have a dislocated induction. I now ask them, where I worked, for instance, I left, at least I picked this from that place. I worked, my last employment was with Value Card in Lagos, currently called Unified Payment Services Limited. When you work with Value Card, what they do is when you're employed, they will take you to the boardroom. If you're supposed to resume, say 2nd of October, they will backdate your employment by 1 week, purely for induction purposes. So that 1 week, your own is to come, you won't resume 8 o'clock, you resume 10 o'clock, go to the boardroom, sit down, tea is there, drink as many times as you want. Today's date is account office. So on Monday, accounts will come to boardroom, everybody in accounts for 2 hours, both Oga and Super, all the team that are meant to be on the induction list. They'll come and talk with you, sit with you, show projection, they can project, they can write on the board, teach you as much as they think you need to know about the business from the accounts. For instance, they'll tell you, in this company, when we're sending you on outstation, your allowance is so per day. When we give you money as advance or IOU, you will retire like this. They will take you through the process as a personnel from the accounts perspective. Are we together? Now, so having done that, let's say at lunch hour, you've had your lunch. After lunch, admin will come and do their own. The next day, project management will come and do their own. Business development will come and do their own. On the last day, the CEO's office will come and talk to you. And then in the evening, there will now be a staff meeting where you are now introduced to the house. This is who you are. This is where you come from. They will now do a TGIF. So evening of any new staff that comes, everybody knows that that Friday is your jollification day. Because everybody will come meet you, be happy, will eat snacks and drink. So you are inducted and you are welcomed in a grand style, one whole week. That kind of person, by the next week, if he goofs, he knows that he has goofed. Because you were taken through a proper induction. And it was properly defined. We didn't go to anybody's office to interrupt his work. We had drawn out a schedule, and everybody had come to you and taken you through a proper process. So these are things you want to consider when you're thinking of, instituting your business. You want to be able to, as small as you think your business is, please, if it's MS Word or PowerPoint, document your culture, the way you want your business to run. And for everybody that joins you, whether by ad hoc manner, or as an employee, or as a partner, or as a contractor, define what you want to happen and exchange contractual terms. Let there be a defined documentation that has exchanged between the two of you so that you're able to know where the buck stops. I'll round up by saying that I strongly discourage Nigerians, from being sentimental in business because it has not helped us so far. So if you're serious about doing business, do business. If you want to do social business, do social business. If you want to do NGO, do NGO. If you want to do humanitarian service, do humanitarian service. If you want to do profit-driven business, please get your acts together and do it well. And where, if for instance you are some of us are the Father Christmas giving type, which is very good, you can now decide to create a vote in your income to say my turnover every month, 1% of my turnover goes to giving. Don't exceed it. Create a vote and stick to your vote, because you cannot satisfy everybody. They will finish, my dad will say, they will finish licking you, dump you, and go and lick another person. So if your business is business, create a system that works for you. Transcend from skill to manager to entrepreneur, and be diligent at it. One of the things I hope you will learn from the CD of business model is the fact that the same family that you are sacrificing your business for will benefit if the business actually does well. So create your focus and build the business the way you understand. And continue to invest in yourself. I liked when you said it. Continue to invest in yourself. Build your capacity for business. Don't do business by just inspiration. You're just inspired. Somebody told me that in dreamland, there are no limitations. So you can be inspired in your dream, but haven't woken up. Put your dream to the test by thinking. There's a book by John Maxwell called Put Your Dream to the Test. How many of us have seen the book? Please, you need to read the book. You need to get that book. Put your dreams to the test. What that means is, having dreamed and had so much inspiration and so much, trance, vision, whatever you choose to call it, when you have come out from that illusion, that phase of realm of spirit, sit down, dissect the rema, and now adapt it to your culture. Very, very critical. So, thank you for having me. You can follow me on Twitter. Obafemi is the handle, and I will be able to discuss with you further as much as possible. Thank you. God bless you, and I'm grateful.
Okay.
please step out.
Thank you very much, Coach Sam. I'm sure if we gave him 4 hours, he would. There's a lot to do, but I really encourage you to please get the CDs. I will entertain just one question, one burning question. If you have one burning question. Okay, go ahead, sir.
So my question is on business culture. I just want to see if there's any similarity or relationship between business culture and business ethics.
Ethics.
Yeah.
Ethics. What ethics mean is what is right and what is not right, or what is appropriate or inappropriate. Culture does not. Culture could be ethical or unethical. This is what it means. If I go to Zamfara and the Islamic understanding is they don't eat pork. So if my culture says that we will process pork in a particular manner, ethically in that domain is inappropriate. So your culture can be subjective to environmental ethics or even personal ethics. Let me give you an instance. This morning I was discussing with my wife about the subject of integrity. And I was telling her an example I had when I was in paid employment. When I just joined Value Card, because I was in the network team, we had a challenge with our power supply. And it was emergency, so we couldn't wait for the admin to raise the voucher to go and buy an extension box. So within us, we just raised an IOU and I was delegated to go and buy the extension box. Now, the culture of the system says raise an IOU, get payment, go and buy, come back, retire, whatever has been given to you. So if you've spent more, claim. If you spent less, return the balance. That's the culture of the system. Is that not so? Good. But because it was an emergency, we didn't go through the culture. So it was ethically right, based on the initiative, to have taken care of the situation and then go and claim our monies. Is that not so? Now, that was taken care of. But when I went to buy, we had raised 1.5 for the extension box. I got the box at 800 naira. I was telling my wife that between the place I bought the box and the house, I was fighting 1 million battles in my head. Do I want to return this balance? Do I want to claim it was more than 800? Too many things were fighting in my head. And by the time I got to the office, one single question saved me. The question just said, you are new in this place, don't goof. That was what just killed the issue. Now, if I had marked up the price, we may culturally have not done wrong. Ethically, with respect to solving the situation, may have not been wrong. But ethically, as a person, I would have been inappropriate. Please, do you get it? So a culture can be the fact that this is how we choose to run business. Ethics could now mean, this our culture, is it an appropriate definition, which can be affected by different factors. Could be religious, could be environmental, could be personal, different factors can affect ethics. But culture really is about an organizational definition. I don't know if I've clarified your question. So when it has to do with culture, most times is an organizational definition, our choice, our style of doing business. But when it now comes to ethics, you now want to test your culture with respect to where are we operating from? How are we operating and who are the people? I have some clients who told me they're a Christian company. So culturally, they've defined themselves, which means that if the HR manager even shortlists a non-Christian, ethically, the person has been inappropriate because the culture says Christian company. Do you understand that? So culture is an organizational definition, but ethics can come from different perspectives. Different factors can paint an ethical issue, which you can't hold to one particular subject matter. So ethics is very subjective, but every culture is tested by different ethics at different times or not. Do you understand that? Because even like this Ebola thing now has introduced a new ethical pattern to how things are run when it has to do with food and hygiene, which were not there before, which can now affect some cultural definitions before. Some hospitals may have to now change their culture because there is a new factor called Ebola that has affected their definition of some culture. It's possible that our culture says when you come, you let me shake you. But right now, shaking you is dangerous. Do you get? So, if my language is, when you come in, I like that touch, and you don't shake me, I feel like, okay, that was unethical, you're being biased. No, there's a word they call it. Not biased. Rude, okay, no, there's even this word I wanted to use. Stigmatization. You're stigmatizing. You know, so culture can be tested at every given point in time by factors of ethics. And ethics, you can't hold ethics to one definition. Because even you have your personal values that define your ethical standard, which may differ from your immediate next neighbor, which may differ from religious context, background context, language context, educational context. Different factors can define ethics that can test one culture. Because I hope I clarified that.
Yes, certainly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All right. What we will do now, firstly, before his, okay, thank you. We have Dr. Nee in the house, Dr. Friends Jackson. Yes. So, but before I know Coach Sam needs to run. But before he comes up to speak, I know Dr. Friends has a lot for us today. We would take a 2-3 minute break, purposeful. I know we have other questions. However, and that break is to enable some who want to get the CDs to please pick up. If you wouldn't mind, but Dr. Frenzo is in the house, and I'm really honored to have him around, and we'll get to hear that later. But for now, we'll take the pictures and look very briefly and snappily, and we'll continue the DS Mentor program. Thank you once again, Coach Sam, for being with us.